I think that there are a number of things to address. First of all, I think the most important part of the value of technology for learning institutions, I think, is to open up the institution. I think traditionally learning has been viewed too much as a closed system. You know, where the learning happens within the institution, the learning is tested within the institution, and the institution is the source of resources for learning. And I think the potential of technology is to explode that view and to embed the institution much more within a broader system. So things like MOOCs, you know, they are kind of like opening the walls of different institutions so that different things can happen, you know. So if a course is taken care of by a MOOC, then a professor can engage with his or her students in new ways that are taken care of by that. The fact that students can have access to data and website everywhere, they can have access to other people, they can form communities beyond that. I think that's, to me, quite exciting. Now, obviously, what that means is really changes in practices. And this is where the learning theory also has implication, is that actually teachers in those institutions are going to need to belong to communities where these new practices are discussed and legitimized and institutionalized. So they need, this is too much of a change for people to have to do this on their own, you know. And we don't know enough about that we can just give a course, you see. It's really completely inventing a new practice. And therefore, I think that local communities need to be formed and then connected to each other so that that transformation can be viewed as productive for people who are participating in it. So this is the area where I think there is really, we need to pay attention, and whether the learning theory can be useful in proposing some ways of proceeding. I think that there's almost like a disaggregating of the functions of the university. You know, again, it's actually related. The two questions are really related because, again, in this globalized, interconnected system, learning is not going to happen in a closed system. But I think that challenges the university to then, because the university has a role in creating almost like a reification of the student that can travel, and people call this certification or whatever, you know. And it's a lot easier to create a certification when you are in a closed system, you know. You say, oh yeah, we've taught the student that, and the student knows that. You have control over all the elements. Once you open up, you know, you lose control over the different elements of that system, but you still have a responsibility for. You see, I think there is, if learning is really as important as it is, I think there is, because you could say, oh, why have a university? We can, you know, the whole world is a curriculum. No, I think learning is difficult, but the difficulty of learning is not access to curriculum material. The difficulty of learning is making sense of who you are becoming, and then have a way to talk about it. Have a way. So if the university says, yeah, this is you have a degree in chemistry. See, they are saying something to the world that has to be able to travel beyond the realm of the university. You have to be able to go to your employer and say, hey, I have a degree in chemistry. So there is a challenge there once you open up the walls to say, what is the role of the university? Traditionally the role of the university was we produce knowledge there, there's learning taking place there, and then the rest of life is application. If you say there is knowledge being produced everywhere in the world, there's learning taking place everywhere in the world, then all of a sudden, what the university contributes is a focus on learning, but not a focus on just providing resources for learning. That is done beyond the world, but a focus on how do you become this kind of person, you know, and how can we manage an identity in formation? How can we assess, oh, this would be good, this would be a good thing to do, this would be a good thing to do. You know, you should go work in that company for 3 months. And it would be, see what I mean? You manage a diversity of experience, but because learning as a way of becoming is actually a difficult question. Having help to become that, it's almost like traditionally imparting the curriculum was the center stage, and counseling was kind of like a little show on the side. It's almost like the reverse, you know. It's almost like counseling, helping a person manage their identity and become a learning person is taking the center stage. And then the curriculum, sometimes it would be a course in the university that a person needs, sometimes it's something that happens elsewhere, you know. And when you go elsewhere, how do you acknowledge in a reified way the learning that happens there? Those are real challenge for universities. So finding your place, the universities have to find their place as temples of learning, if you will, but in a context where we realize that the production of knowledge and the enabling of learning is not the privileged role of that context, but it happens everywhere.